And we are back with some more of the channel's 10-year anniversary franchise mode in FHM 10. And in the last one, the Seattle Emeralds were the champions for the first time. And in this one, we're going to get underway with year number 7. And this year should be pretty interesting, as last season, we finally got the minor leagues involved. But there were some players like this guy, Denis Truniov, who seem way too good for the minors. So I assume that players like him and like McSporin and all those other guys are going to get called up to the big leagues, and maybe it'll change the landscape of the league a little bit. Who knows? So it should be pretty interesting. And with that, let's go up to the draft order announcements. Well, we got a bit of a deal here. Yeah, Jarrett Beckett to the Checking Lions in exchange for Charles Meade, with 20% of his salary retained to the Christmas Elf Rings. All right, here's a look at the draft log. So going first overall, Dan Gervais, the 3.5-star ability right out of the gate. My goodness, that is certainly the most talented player I believe that we've seen coming out of the drafts. I mean, he looks first line ready already, and he's got several mental ratings, physical ratings, and offensive ratings at an elite level already. So it seems the Checking Lions got a good one, and maybe he's the player they need to finally break out of their playoff slump. They have not been in the playoffs for 5 out of the past 6 seasons and just have overall been very underwhelming so far. So maybe this is finally the guy who gets them over that slump and pushes them into a playoff spot eventually. Wow, irony. Second overall to the Salt Lake City Lakers, Jason Lake. You can't write this. At third overall to the Tokyo Katanas, you have John Oliver. And to the Nova Scotia Supernovas, you have Will Stevens. To the Fargus Holy Knights, you have Dale Bork. To the Christmas Elf Rings, you have Ryan Bonner. To the Tokyo Katanas, you have Peter Ligos. To the Halifax Tugboats, you have Matthew Diaz. To the Atlantic City Boardwalk Bullies, you have Corey Gilbert. And to the Wolfsburg Wolves at number 10, you have Samuel Masse. And then you have a 2-star ability going in the 3rd round, Maxim Pliachenko, going to the Salt Lake City Lakers. Oh, we got a big trade here. Anthony McTear to the Seattle Emeralds in exchange for a 1st-round pick, which ended up being Peter Ligos for the Tokyo Katanas. Then you have Gary Thorne, apparently, going to the Atlantic City Boardwalk Bullies. And at 30 years of age is his 1st year in the league. So he was one of those players who was generated with the minor leagues last year. He ended up tearing it up, and now he has had a 3.5-star ability and ready to make an impact in the big league. All right, so here is the season preview for year number 7. The favorites apparently are the Halifax Tugboats, led by Dan Price, and they can expect challenges from the Seattle Emeralds, who of course were the champions last season, and the Atlantic City Boardwalk Bullies. And a dark horse could be the Christmas Elf Rings, led by Bob Cunningham, and the scoring race will likely be between Justin McNeil, Artem Portnenko, and Bob Cunningham. Top defenseman is between Dave Lively, Valentin Ivanov, and Maxim Banchikov. And then in goal you have Darek Poulin, Mark Carroll, and Lucas Bues. And with that, let's get underway in the regular season of year number 7 here in the WWSY Hockey League. All right, so we're here at the halfway point of the season and got some pretty interesting standings here. In first place so far, you have the Halifax Tugboats with 81 points. Then in second, you have the Christmas Elf Rings with 71. Then the Atlantic City Boardwalk Bullies in third with 65, tied with the Salt Lake City Lakers. And then in fifth, you have the Fargus Holy Knights with 61. The Seattle Emeralds in sixth with 57. The Tokyo Katanas in seventh with 56, the Nova Scotia Supernovas in 8th with 55, the Wolfsburg Wolves in 9th with 47, and unfortunately the Checking Lions just cannot seem to get out of whatever they're doing here to have this little success. Only 43 points so far. They are 12 points back of 8th. And obviously in a league where a regulation win gets you 3 points, I mean, it's not too far-fetched to say that they could make the playoffs, but based off history, I don't think that's looking too likely here, unfortunately. And it's a shame because they have quite a bit of talent too now. Banchikov, McNeil, who of course they've always had those two guys, I believe. Banchikov, I'm pretty sure, has been there since year 1. Yep. And then McNeil has also been there since year 1. And then of course they just drafted Gervais, Donald, Beers, Storm, Magrushik. I mean, they got a lot of talent here. I don't know what they're doing. I don't know what it's going to take to get them on track here. Now let's take a look at the league leaders in every category. For the points, so far you have Bob Cunningham leading the way with 49 points. Followed by Cliff Tincher with 46 and Gary Thorne with 41. So one of the new entries in the league, showing that he could play right away. And in goal currently with a minimum of 10 games played, Mark Carroll leads the way with a .932 save percentage in 31 games played for the Nova Scotia Supernovas. That being said, let's go up to the end of the regular season where, frankly, my attention will be on the checking Lions to see if they can get out of this rut that they're in. And honestly, at this point, I don't think rut is even the appropriate word to describe it. It's probably more like perpetual rebuild that is the correct term here. Oh, Anthony McTair, traded for the second time this season, goes from the Seattle Emeralds to the Christmas Elf Rings in exchange for Dave Scott, a 21-year-old winger. And that appears to be the big trade deadline trade this season. Trade deadline has now passed, and let's go the rest of the season here. And here we are at the end of the regular season of year number 7, and this is what the standings are looking like heading into the playoffs. You have the Halifax Tugboats in first with 155 points, the Atlantic City Bulwark Bullies in second with 131, the Christmas Elf Rings are tied for second with 131 as well. The Wolfsburg Wolves have 130 points in fourth, the Fargus Holy Knights are in fifth with 116, the Tokyo Katanas are in sixth with 115, and the Nova Scotia Supernovas and Seattle Emeralds are tied for 7th with 111 each, meaning the Salt Lake City Lakers and Checking Lions are outside the playoff picture. And that means that the Checking Lions once again missed the playoffs, so that is unfortunate for them, as you have to wonder what it's going to take at this point for them to make it there, as they have some 5-star players in there, so you gotta wonder what the solution is for them. And let's take a look at the player stats. You have Remy Texier leading the league with 84 points, followed up by Cunningham, Tincher, Kopetsky, Herrera, Bruce, Huff, McQuire, Tyler, and McInerney rounding out the top 10. And a goal with a minimum of 20 games played. You have Clo with 26 games played and a 929 save percentage, a 927 save percentage, and 6 shutouts for Mark Carroll, getting up there in age, 37 years of age. A 926 save percentage for Lucas Bues with 8 shutouts in 56 games played. So that's your top 3 for goaltenders. And with that out of the way, let's get underway with the year 7 playoffs, and we'll see if anyone can dethrone the champion Seattle Emeralds. And no, it will be the Seattle Emeralds once again. They are back-to-back cup champions for the WWSY Hockey League. They went through Halifax, Wolfsburg, and Nova Scotia. And now it's time for the awards. For the most points award, you have Remy Texier of Halifax. For the goal scorer award, you have Jordan Bowes of Tokyo. For the goals against award, you have Jonathan Jensen of Halifax. For the best defensive defenseman award, you have Sawyer Jacina of Wolfsburg. For the best captain, you have Jean-David Dubé of Tokyo. And for the MVP between Benchikov, Cunningham, and Ivanov, it is Cunningham. And the playoff MVP is Ivan Furzin of Nova Scotia, 27 points in 20 games played. For the rookie of the year between Yelner Akhmetsanov, David Hagan, and Dan Gervais, it is Dan Gervais of the Checking Lions with 52 points in 70 games played. And for the defenseman of the year between Dave Lively, Valentin Ivanov, and Dan Price, it is Valentin Ivanov of Tokyo, 58 points in 79 games played. Best defensive forward award between Pete Sheffield, Marc-Andre Godbout, and Toby Wibberley, it is Pete Sheffield of Halifax. For the goalie of the year between Jonathan Jensen, Mark Carroll, and Lucas Bues, it is Mark Carroll. And for GM of the year between Dave Collins, Fred Curry, and Calvin Zapunjis, it is Calvin Zapunjis of Halifax. And for the best coach between Mike Kane, Roy Childs, and Toki Kawaguchi, it is Mike Kane of Halifax. So once again, your back-to-back champions are the Seattle Emeralds, and definitely Buddy Elfring playing a huge part in that, as he was originally supposed to be part of the Christmas Elfrings, but it seems the game had different plans for him, and you know what, I'm sure he doesn't mind. And that'll just about do it for year number 7. Sorry if the last few minutes of this episode seemed a bit rushed. I had just noticed during editing that I had a mic issue again, so this is actually a post-commentary, what you've been listening to for the past couple of minutes, which is why it was a little bit rushed, because I was basically just recapping what was happening. Fortunately, I believe I've finally fixed my long-running mic issues. I don't think I'll be having any more mic issues. At least I hope not. And it's so frustrating because the problem was so simple to fix, and I just didn't realize it for the longest time. It was actually just a faulty wire in the XLR cable that my mic was using. So I replaced my old XLR cable with a new one, and all of a sudden, no more static, no more annoying noises or anything like that. No more making my voice sound like it's mumbling. Like, that faulty XLR cable was the entire reason behind the audio issues I've been having for so long, and I feel so dumb. Like, it's so simple to fix, but I just didn't realize it until just very recently. So hopefully all the audio issues are a thing of the past. There are a few more videos that I actually have pre-recorded beyond this episode, so there might still be some audio issues there. I don't know yet. I haven't had the chance to edit them yet, but For the most part, the audio issues should be done, thankfully. So anyway, I just thought I'd update you guys on that because I know those, those audio issues can be very annoying. Anyway, I'll wrap things up here and I'll see you guys in the next one.